Well, hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Cowboy Survival. I'm Richard. Look, it's absolutely beautiful out here, right? It's in gorgeous, gorgeous weather. Spring has arrived. I think you're starting to see things. I've got May apples coming up over here. The trees are budding out. Daffodils are up. Lilies are starting to come up. It's just amazing. Azaleas are starting to bloom. If you saw my video last week, you saw I was in London, England. The weather there was absolutely fantastic. I've been there 7 times. This is by far the best spring I have ever experienced in London. The daffodils were up, the trees were blooming, the grass was green, the skies were blue. It was just absolutely gorgeous. So you might want to go back and watch that video. It's pretty cool. Anyway, what I thought I'd do today is talk a little bit more about fatwood. You know, about 2 weeks ago, I did a video where I went out in the woods and we found a whole bunch of fatwood. And I showed you how to find it. I showed you how to harvest it out of old pine stumps. What we're going to do today is take another look at a different way to perhaps process some of that. Last time we did it with a knife, and I'm going to show you that again. This time we're also going to use a little different tool, and I think you're going to find it really interesting how easy it is to process this fatwood and then use it to start a fire. So let's just get into how to process fatwood. So a couple weeks ago I did a video where we actually harvested this nice fatwood out of the woods, and I showed you we went into the woods, we found a couple of pine stumps. They looked like they were just rotted wood, but turns out there was a lot of really good wood already there. And so we were able to harvest that out of the center. Some really good, you see how good this is. It smells wonderful. You can see how it sounds. It's hard as it can be because that's solid resin in there. So what we're going to do is take a look at how you might process or use this in a fire. Now, I'm going to show you, hopefully, you don't actually need to shave this down to process it. You can light it just with a regular old lighter. And see, it'll light right up. And if the wind doesn't blow it out, it'll catch pretty well because there's nothing but resin in there, and that's going to burn pretty well. Problem is, you can't light this wood with just a ferro rod. You need some kind of a source like a lighter or something. And so if you don't have a lighter, how are you going to get this stuff lit? So what I'm going to do is demonstrate that for you here and show you a couple of ways that you can get this stuff lit without a lighter. So the first way I'm going to show you is a technique that many people will demonstrate on the internet. We're simply going to take the back of your knife, the nice 90-degree edge. I'm going to shift my knees here because my back's a little sore. And we're definitely going to take this and we're going to start scraping. So if you take that, get it at an angle, and you start pushing down with this, you can get these nice little sawdust-like shavings off of this wood. It takes a little bit of work. It's not real easy. It does get a lot of muck on your knife as well. Because remember, this is resin. And if it's windy, these shavings can go everywhere. Get a few more. And you push all that into a nice little pile. That's not very many shavings right there. We're going to try, let's see if we can't get some more. That ought to be enough. So once we've got these shavings, the next thing we can do is we can light them with a ferro rod. So let's see if I can make it catch a spark. Now you see I've got all this gucky stuff all over my knife. That's why I don't really like using my knife for this. We got another alternative I'm going to show you in a minute. But simply take this, and not the best ferro rod in the world, but because once that stuff catches, it's going to burn really well. It's going to burn really hot and really fast. And I take some of this fat wood and put it on there. Hold it up for a second. It's going to catch. And I can make a nice little fire with this fat wood really, really quickly as that wood begins to catch. If you look closely, it's hard to see it on the camera, but the sap is actually bubbling a little bit. as it comes out of that wood and burns. And you see how that wood catches, that fat wood catches really, really easily and quickly. And it's going to allow you then to get your other tinder going. And the thing is, this stuff will burn even in wet weather. It's kind of harder to get it going with a ferro rod in wet weather, but it will burn in wet weather. That black smoke that's coming off there is the pitch that's inside that. That's the terpene that's burning, that's inside that wood. And if you were to blow this out and then touch it, it's going to be sticky to the touch because you've taken that hard resin and you've heated it up and melted it so it's soft again, and it makes a really neat flame. So you can see how well that stuff, there's just two little slivers that I have, are burning extraordinarily well. So that would be enough, certainly, to get a good fire going, I think. Let's get that off of there. And let's show you an alternative way to I think, make these shavings. So a couple months ago, I did a video on something called the SwissTech Low-Durn Fire Kit. This was available at Walmart for about $30. And it was interesting. It has this interesting knife on it that has an interesting shape. I don't know, it's kind of just an odd-shaped knife. But it's an interesting little knife. Got serrated edges here, a little blade on it. It's not real pointy, but that's not the point. It's for fire starting. It's not for killing and skinning and all that kind of stuff. It's not really a survival knife. Inside you got a magnesium block. You had a sparker. You have one of these bellows that people use to blow their fires. But you also had this thing, which is really interesting. It's like a little grater. They call it a tinder processor. Okay, but you can use it with your wood here. And what we're simply going to do, and it's a whole lot less effort than what I was doing with the knife. I just simply take this, I hold it, and I just simply drag this back and forth. And as I drag it back and forth, those little sharp edges are going to catch this. And I'm going to essentially do the same thing my knife was doing, but with a whole lot less effort and a whole lot less damage to my knife. So with just a few strokes like that, you can see I've got a nice little pile of shavings. And let's get a few more just to show you how that works. Just take this again. This is going to simply start dragging it back and forth on here. So I've got that nice pile of shavings. So I'm going to take my ferro rod, and once again, we will get that going with a spark. And as you can see, it burns fairly quickly. So if you can find the SwissTech Low-Durn Fire Kit, maybe on eBay, or maybe they're still selling it at some Walmarts. I got mine for $30. I think that was the going price then. You might be able to find it cheaper on eBay. Really kind of a neat product. I wasn't too sure what the use of it was, some of the parts were back then, but I do now see a really good use for this tinder processor they've got right there. They call it the tinder scraper is what they call it. Really nice use for that, I think. Comes in a real nice little case. The case itself is probably worth $10, the little pouch that it comes in. And, you know, use it with your Fatwood. And then also, you know, all you need is a knife with a good sharp edge on it. This is my Bushmate 2.0 from BPS. I really like it. I need to clean it up though. It's gotten kind of dirty, hasn't it? So I need to go clean this up from this project. But I think if you can find this tool, it's a great tool for helping you to process fatwood. If you have other ideas for how to process fatwood, put them in the comments. I'd love to hear other ways that people are processing and using fatwood to get fires going other than what I may have just demonstrated. In the meantime, remember what we always say. Stay strong, stay prepared, and have a blessed day.